Welcome to Redefining Medicine, an intimate and personalized program that illustrates a different side of the practice of medicine. Our in-depth conversations will focus on the physicians and practitioners who are redefining medicine through their integrative, functional, and holistic approach to health and well-being.
We are pleased to welcome Dr.Tribhuvan Gulati, a leader in the field of diabetes and obesity management and metabolic aging based in New Delhi, India. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on the A4M podcast. It's a pleasure being here.
So I understand you have both a private practice and you work in a hospital in New Delhi. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I am a senior consultant in medicine department and diabetes in BLK Super Specialty Hospital, and I have my private practice. So a lot of my friends call me schizophrenic doctor. Reason being, I practice conventional medicine and conventional diabetology in my hospital setting, and I have my anti-aging and diabetes reversal in my private practice. So that's where the name comes, schizophrenic doctor.
What initially led your interest into becoming a diabetologist?
I was a MD medicine, and I was practicing as an internist. And but then I saw, being in India, it's the upcoming capital of diabetes in the world. And every third patient that used to come to me in the clinic, every second, third patient that used to come to me in the hospital was a diabetic patient, either an old follow-up case taking treatment from somewhere else, or came with some other problems like erectile dysfunction or some skin problems, letharginess, weight loss, all those symptoms. And then I used to investigate them, and they used to come out as diabetics. So that led to me thinking that if I need to help the public, I need to do my specialization in a field which can actually be helpful to everyone. But when I started my practice, say about 14 years back, about 30% of my practice was diabetes based and 70% was infectious disease. But now, and for the last 7 years, I can say it very confidently that it's reversed. It's 70% to 80% is diabetes, and about 20 to 30% is infectious disease. I'm talking about infectious disease in the era of a pandemic like COVID, but then we are seeing so many pre-diabetic and borderline diabetes patients getting pushed into the diabetic range just because of the COVID infection. Their sugars shoot up because of the infection, and they're coming for the first time to the hospital or the clinic with high blood sugars. So that kind of pushed me towards doing my specialization in diabetes. And diabetes is a condition which is more or less always associated. Type 2 diabetes, I would specify, is more or less always associated with obesity. So obesity specialization kind of came in along with diabetes specialization.
Sure.
And so that's how I did my specialization in diabetes.
And do you find in your patient population that it's pretty even among men and women?
Yes, it is almost even. I'm getting about 50% cases of women and 50% cases of men who are coming with high blood sugars or uncontrolled diabetes. It's almost the same ratio. There's not much difference.
So what is your approach?
It's actually a multi-spoke approach. It's not that I just have to take care of the person's sugars. It's actually a 5-spoke approach. The first thing is taking care of the fasting and the postprandial blood sugars. The second is glycemic variability. So I need to take care of their fluctuations of sugars during the whole day, whether they're eating, whether they're not eating, and what all they're eating. The third one is obesity, like I said. The fourth one is complications and comorbidities. And the fifth one is HbA1c, because it's been proven over time that if you bring down the HbA1c by 1% in a diabetic patient, you reduce the chances of cardiac comorbidities and other complications by more than 50%. So it's actually a 5-spoke approach. So if a known case and a person who's already a diabetic comes to me with uncontrolled blood sugars, my first aim is to get his blood sugars or get her blood sugars under control within the next 10 to 15 days. And it is very easy. It's not a difficult task. People say that it takes months and months to bring down your blood sugars and bring them to normal range. It's not. It takes not more than a week to 10 days. So once their blood sugars are normal, their sugar variability is reduced. That is the time then when I introduce them to reducing their weight, controlling their comorbidities and complications, and taking care of their HbA1c. So first step, second step, and then the rest of them come later.
Right. Once somebody develops type 2 diabetes, can
Mhm.
they ever not be diabetic? Can you get them well, as it were?
That's actually an excellent question. And normally, like you can say the big names in the diabetes, like the American Diabetic Association and the European Association of Study of Diabetes, even the one in India, that is the RSSDI, they have labeled diabetes as a chronic and a progressive disease. And they're absolutely right in labeling it as a chronic and a progressive disease if you follow the standard of care. If you see, there was a study done by Kaiser Permanente that the percentage of reversal in standard of care was 0.1%. But there have been studies that have been done. There are about more than 20 randomized controlled trials. There have been about 5 meta-analysis which prove that diabetes can go into remission. Now, there is a difference between diabetes remission and diabetes reversal. Diabetes remission is when you bring the patient down to normal glycemic values and the patient not being on medications and remains so for the next 1 year. That is the time when the patient is in remission. So patient can actually be on one single drug of metformin, maybe once a day or twice a day. But when the patient has maintained that particular levels, despite of not being on any medications for more than 1 year, that is the time when we label the patient as reversal of diabetes. So we should not confuse between remission and reversal. A lot of patients go into remission, but they don't fully reverse the diabetes. But a lot of patients can also reverse the diabetes. So it totally depends on what is the time period that when they come to me, whether they have been 15-year-old diabetics or whether they are 15 days old diabetics. So that's what matters a lot.
What's been your experience within your patient population, given your approach?
Yeah, so I have been a conventional diabetologist in the initial 2 to 3 years of my life. And I'll tell you a little story. What happened with me personally was, when about 4 years back, about 5 years back, I had suddenly gained a lot of weight. Right now I'm 75 kilograms. My BMI is around 23. At around 5 years back, my weight was about 101 kilograms body weight, and my BMI was touching somewhere around 30. And my HbA1c touched 6.5%. And I and my father got our blood test done. My father is 82 right now, and his blood test showed to be better than mine. And I was 39 at that time. Mm-hmm. And I was taken aback, and I was in a shock that I am a diabetes specialist and an obesity specialist, and suddenly what has happened to me? So I kind of studied a lot and did a lot of diet and diet modifications, lifestyle modifications, and I reversed my own diabetes in the next 6 months and got my A1C down to about 4.5. And I, being my own first diabetes remission patient, and today I call myself a diabetes reversal, I was taken aback. And that's the time when I got introduced to A4M, and that's the time I read a lot about diabetes reversal and what the work that was being done, and I incorporated that into my practice. And today I have more than 150 patients and about 100 testimonials. Patients who have been in diabetes remission and diabetes reversal, lost a lot of weight. And to tell you the truth, weight loss is actually just a side benefit. I call it a side benefit when you reverse your diabetes. And apart from obesity and diabetes, you get a lot of cardiovascular benefits. Your ASCVD risk goes down by about 10%, 12%. Your comorbidities complication goes down. So everything, all those 5 spokes that I talked about earlier, they are all catered to, they are all addressed to. So that's how I got into this practice. But then again, every patient is not fit for diabetes reversal. I give it a choice to the patient that these are the 2 choices. You want your diabetes to be controlled or you want your diabetes to be reversed. And then the patient tells me if the patient can take care of his diet and change the lifestyle, I take them into the protocol and the program for diabetes reversal. If the patient says, no, I'm happy with my medications, I'm happy with my insulin, continue with everything what you're doing, I just want a good control, I give them that benefit.
Right. How much consult is involved? I'm sure you're not just telling them change your diet. There's got to be a lot of instruction in terms of how to do that. How do you approach that?
So there are a lot of instructions. The patients actually have to change their diet completely. They need to get onto something called a low carbohydrate diet or a very low carbohydrate diet. See, scientifically speaking, there are 3 proven ways of reversing diabetes. First is bariatric surgery. There is robust data proving that bariatric surgery causes diabetes reversal. Second is a very low calorie diet. Now, very low calorie diet actually is not something that can continue for anybody for a very long time. You can't just have 500 or 600 calories every day for the rest of your life. You will binge, you will cheat, you will want to have that pizza bite or a burger bite. So that cannot continue for a long time. And the third one, which I am doing a lot, is a very low carbohydrate diet. So very low carbohydrate diet, or some people tend to call it a ketogenic diet, but it's something in between a strict keto and a low carbohydrate diet. That is what I tell the patients. And the first initial consultation usually takes about anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes to about 45 minutes. That is a consultation with me. Then I have a functional nutritionist with me, and I send my patient to her. She counsels the patient, takes a full diet recall, and then tells the patient, okay, these are the things that have to be done. She also even helps in telling them the recipes. It's not only about giving them a printed sheet of paper and telling them, okay, fine, you have to follow this particular things. So she helps them with the recipes. If the patient is unable to get the raw material or is unable to cook, she also makes videos and puts it online and shares the videos of how to cook. So it's a very tedious and a long process for the first 1 month. The patient actually has to come back to me every week, and to my nutritionist, say almost every second day or third day. So my nutritionist is more like a life coach rather than a nutritionist. So that's how things work. But once the people get a hang of it, over the period of the next second and the third month, the patients are able to take it on their own.
They've learned some new habits and some new skills.
And they love it, because once they get onto that kind of a diet, their sugars are better. They have more energy. Mental acuity is better. They have more muscle mass because they're exercising a lot. They're eating healthy. And plus the kind of food that we provide and the guidance that we give them, it's actually something that can be made at home. That way it helps a lot.
Do you find any particular supplements useful?
In patients specifically who are vegetarians and who are vegans, so I would give them a little bit of protein supplements and some nutraceuticals, because when they are trying to build up their muscle mass to increase their insulin sensitivity, because if you have more muscle, you'll have more insulin receptors, thus increasing your insulin sensitivity. So sometimes just having a vegetarian diet does not help. So we tend to give them vegetarian protein supplements, and that kind of helps. We help them with some nutraceuticals that help them in reducing the weight, controlling the blood sugars also, and plus giving them more energy. Plus I incorporate my conventional medicine guidance also, and my knowledge also, to, like, I wouldn't stop metformin and maybe a few SGLT2 inhibitors in the initial stages to control their blood sugars till the time they get used to the diet and the exercise. Once they get used to the diet and exercise, I slowly start bringing down the medications. So in the initial stages, it is pharmaceutical, nutraceutical, some supplements, diet and lifestyle modification, slowly taking off the pharmaceutical, just keeping them on nutraceuticals and supplements, and then taking them completely on the diet.
That's what integrative medicine is all about, right?
Exactly. It's integrating. I like to call it more of a holistic medicine. We're looking at the person as a whole. We're not just looking at the blood sugars. We're not just looking at the cardiac markers. We're not just looking at the renal markers. We're looking at the person as a whole. So I like to call integrative medicine more as a holistic medicine.
Right. I really appreciate you taking the time to visit with us today.
Thank you so much. And it was a pleasure talking to you.